in life, and you guys are in for a treat because he's an amazing speaker too. But Caleb Lopez, everybody.
Don't know what it stands for. It stands for Certified Field Trainer, right? So, I know some of us are either junior certified agents where we can run our own meetings by ourselves, but then maybe some of us are getting to the point where we can actually train others. So I just want to see who can run their own meetings and be able to do PFRs on their own. Who's officially signed off as a junior CFT at least, or a junior certified agent? Okay, awesome. Who signed off fully as a CFT? As a certified field trainer? All right, raise your hand if you didn't raise your hand. Okay. So now we know, now you know where you're at, and you know the next step of where you need to take it. So usually, you go through CFT once to become at least a junior certified agent, junior CFT, where you can run your own meetings. You can close on your own. And that's really the only way you're going to learn how to get better is by running volume. I remember my first year as running my own appointments. Probably was not ready to run my own appointments yet, but sometimes we kick you out of the nest as leaders and be like, hey, go figure it out, go fail forward, go get some reps in. And that's where all of you are right now. Right? You're getting reps in, you're maybe not closing as much as you want to be right now. It's normal. That's the part of the process and the journey. But you'll keep getting better. But I remember whenever I went through CFT Academy for the first time, it was an eye-opener because I realized that I really sucked. And I was not good at all. And so there's different stages of the business. I want to go through this really quickly. When you first get started, you really, really suck. And you got to be willing to admit that first and foremost. Yeah. You really, really suck. But here's the cool thing. You can make money and really, really suck.
True. That's true.
Our first year of business, we made over $100,000 and we really, really sucked. Then you really, really suck, and then you really suck. And then you just suck. And then you're really bad. And then you're bad. And then you're okay. And then you're good. And then you become great. And then you're an expert, right? But in that journey of really, really sucking all the way to being an expert, guess how much money you're making in the process? Guess how many families you're helping in the process? Guess who you're becoming in the process. So don't forget about the journey of what it takes to become an expert in your field. My background is professional sports, played professional baseball with the St. Louis Cardinals. Did that. That was my first real job, right? You guys have heard a little bit about my story if you heard me speak at any events or any trainings. And that's all I knew. It took me 17 years to get paid to play baseball. Some of us, this is our first 3 months in business, first 6 months, first year, this is our first CFT. Anybody first time through CFT? Maybe you've been here about less than a year, right at a year. And we're mad because we're like, man, I only made $5,000, or I've only made negative 500. Right? And it's like, it took me 17 years to get paid to play. And I was willing to go all in. I was willing to go all in for an opportunity that may not even happen. And it wasn't up to me to decide it. But here's the beautiful part. At any moment in our business, you can decide to go from really, really suck, to really suck, to really bad, to okay, good, and expert. At any moment, you can decide that, but you have to decide. And whenever I saw that we sucked our first year, didn't close everything, we didn't do that well, and I say we didn't do well, we still crossed 6 figures, but it was because we ran a lot of volume. So I want to start with that in this last closing session before we break for dinner and we do our awards. And I really want you to get a lot out of this. I'm going to be going through a lot of things, so I hope you're ready to. I like tangible. I like practical. I like just giving you the stuff. So when you think about the volume that you need to run, Nick did a great job of talking about 10 appointments a week, right? 10 appointments a week, that's great volume. When I look back at our calendar, and all of you learned how to create a show schedule and what your calendar should look like, I know Nick's record was like 18 one-on-ones in a day. Not 10 appointments in a week, 18 in a day, right? Where you're just, there's moments in me and Sarah's career where we're like 15, 20 appointments a piece building this thing, right? So when I want to elevate your thinking a little bit, where don't just settle for 10. That's great. That's a minimum standard. Everything above and beyond is going to be cherry on top. But have you ever ran 10 appointments in a day? That's how you know you're in the game, right? Where you're running 10 appointments in a day, where you're not even pausing for restroom breaks sometimes, right? That's probably not the most healthy thing to do, right? You don't want to hurt yourself, but are you willing to go all in? So I was willing to go all in because I saw an opportunity where it was up to me to decide which level that I wanted to be at. Because in baseball, I had to hit, minor leagues, you got single A, double A, triple A, major leagues. There's a lot of different levels. Very similar to this business. There's a lot of levels. And yes, I could perform and I could get promoted, but it wasn't up to me to get promoted, right? A manager, front office, coordinators, scouts for the team, there was a few people that had to sign off on, okay, which level are you going to? And then you also could be what?
Cut.
Demoted, right? Or even cut. Or you could get hurt. So there's a lot of things. I love sports. That was my whole life. I thought that was the only way you could get paid. I didn't know you could do anything else other than, I thought the only way to make money was to play baseball. But I was willing to go all in for an opportunity and a chance to play at the highest level that may not ever come. But we get so devastated, we want to quit, we say this isn't working, we start beating ourselves up, and you have the ability to play t-ball and get paid to play t-ball. You know how awesome that would have been, me at 5 years old, if I would have got paid like $10 to play a t-ball game? You know how fired up I would have been? I'm like, yes, $10. Some of us, we get, our first paycheck, and it's like we're a training associate, it's like $100. And we're like, woohoo! And then you see these other pay cycles, like $10K in a day, and it's like, you're mad at yourself. But you get paid to learn, right? You have the opportunity to get paid to learn, and you decide on how much money you're going to make while you're learning based off of your volume, right? But the only way you can get really good is running that volume. So, with that being said, when I really understood how the business works, and I was like, wait, it's up to me on where we can go and take this thing. Like, I control my own destiny. Obviously, God controls it all, but the work that I put in, I control where we go in the business. My input, my effort, my performance. Not someone else promoting me or demoting me. So all of you have that same ability. It's just what volume are you running and how consistent are you? Now, when we talk about recruiting, I really want you guys to think about this. Who wants to be a better recruiter? Okay? I hope all of us want to be a better recruiter. I think we all can improve in that area a ton. We've been talking about that a lot. Rob's been really hammering that in as an organization. But how can we be better recruiters? Some of us, we have a bad association with that word. Okay? So my advice is let's change that association and figure out why that word triggers us. Okay? Because some of us, we hear, recruiting and then pyramid and MLM because one person said it one time and now you're forever scarred and now you're like timid to recruit, right? That could be some of us. Some of us, we don't understand the power of recruiting But I worked my whole life, that 17 years to pay, to get paid to play and finally sign a contract. I trained to be recruited.
That's right.
So think about it. I was hoping a scout would be looking for me. I was hoping a college coach would sign me. I was hoping a major league scout, like, I'm looking in the stands, like, I hope there's a scout here today. I hope he recruits me. Mm-hmm. So me as an athlete, recruiting is just, I trained my whole life to be recruited, so recruiting my association is positive, right? Some people, maybe some of you in the room, your association may be negative. So why are we top recruiting team? Why are we a top recruiting base shop? Why does our team, when they join in our business and on the team, they don't have there's no negative association with recruiting. So ask yourself this question: are you giving off positive vibes about recruiting, or are you giving off negative vibes about your association with the word recruiting? Because if you're giving off negative vibes, or you don't talk about it enough, or you're like, I don't want to scare anybody off, or I don't want to say that we recruit people because they may think let them get in a little bit and then we'll talk about, like, from the jump, if you're having a positive association, that's all your people's going to know when they come into the business, that it's just what we do because we change people's lives. Right? You heard all these stories today. No one would have that impact and feel that if they weren't in this room. Right? If you guys weren't in the room and you didn't get recruited, we wouldn't be doing all this. We got this whole event, this whole weekend, all the things we do, and what's been happening for 30 plus years. Right? Steve talked about it, just a legend in here, someone been in the business 28 years. It's just so cool. And hopefully you guys don't take that for granted, where you get to learn from people that have been here. And here's a big nugget. He's front row taking notes, and he's an EVC. To me, that's the people that I learned from. That's like the people that have a growth mindset always, Anyways, that was just a side note. Shout out to you. Much respect. But when we talk about recruiting, you have to paint, somebody needs to write this down, paint a picture for that person to see themselves sitting in your seat. You have to paint a picture for that person to see themselves sitting in your seat. So what do I mean by that? When I'm on a meeting with someone, I feel like I'm a pretty darn good recruiter. We can look at some numbers, and I think Nathan Wheeler's got us beat a little bit. He's a good recruiter too. When I sit on a meeting with someone, I want them to see themselves in my seat. So, Rosalind, what we get to do and what you'd be able to do if you came to be a part of this team, you'd be able to teach people the Rule of 72. You'd be able to teach people how to save on their taxes. You'd be able to teach people how to get out of debt faster. And by doing that, you're going to be able to create time freedom. You're going to be able to travel the world with us. You're going to be able to give everything you want for your kids. Like, how would that make you feel if you were actually able to do that? Feel awesome, right? So when you look at the Rule of 72, it's a famous equation made famous by Albert Einstein, compound interest, blah, 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 blah. Then I give the content. How money grows, fixed variable index. Hey, Rosalind, would you rather have a fixed variable or indexed income? Indexed. Awesome. Well, you'd be able to teach other people how to create an indexed income. Okay, taxes. You'd be able to teach people tax now, tax later, tax advantage, and if you can help them in each of those categories, if I were to ask someone, would they rather have 12% index, tax advantage, do you think they're going to choose like all three of those? Yes? Right? You can do what I do. Right? It's very simple. You can do what I do. We've had a very successful business, and we want to teach you how to do that. Would it be worth it to you to grab a license, dip your toe in the water, be part-time? We all start part-time. We work our full-time jobs until you make enough money and supplement what you're making at your full-time job, and you can make the switch. Like, would it be worth it to you to be able to have more time freedom, to be able to spend more time with your family? Like, would that be worth it to you? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Well, hey, let's go ahead and set up an interview. We can talk about that more in detail, licensing, our training program, get into all the logistics. Sound fair enough? So that right there, this phrase, you'd be able to. Because some people, they like, I think someone said it earlier, I think Emily said it. Oh, I actually have an option. Oh, I actually have a choice to make. Like, can I be an employee and an entrepreneur? Like, you only think about employee, but when you say the phrase, you'd be able to, guess what they start imagining? They start imagining themselves, and you're painting a picture for them to be like, oh, so if I just do what Caleb said, like if I teach them these things, then I will get what Caleb has, or I will be able to have more time with my, it's not, so keep it simple. Don't try to recruiting is very simple. You just have to paint a picture, and my favorite phrase is, you'd be able to. And now they're sitting in the same seat, because here's the thing, if you try to impress people with all your knowledge, and, you try to, share all your accolades, or if you try to, maybe sell $1 million dream to a $500 mindset, right? You're going to be wondering why you're striking out a lot. Of course, I use a baseball analogy. You're going to be striking out a lot in your recruiting conversations because you just got to get them to see like, oh, I can do it too, right? And if they never see themselves in that seat and you don't paint a picture for them, you can give them all the things. You could impress them with all the knowledge you have. You could go through the whole presentation. Like, man, that was my best presentation I've ever ran. I gave them all the facts. I gave them all the things. But if you never actually let them see themselves sitting in the seat and then realize, oh, it's actually pretty simple to do what you do, then they're going to feel like, I can't do it. I think all of us in here can agree that that's the limiting belief. Like, I feel like I can't do this. I feel like it's overwhelming. I feel like it's a lot. I don't have any time. Like, there's so many objections. So you have to paint a picture so they can be able to see what you do and sit in that seat. Does that help anybody today? Yeah. Right? You'd be able to. Like that phrase right there, you'd be able to. You'd be able to. And the verbiage, right? And I hear this when I shadow meetings. People say, and this is what we do to help our clients, and this is what we do, and this is what we do, and this is what I do, this is what we do, this is what I do, this is what our company does. We're always talking about like what we and our and my clients, and guess what happens? You start making it exclusive to where it's like, this is what we do over here, but don't you want to like make them feel included in that, right? So it's like, no, you'd actually be able to do this. We would train you on how to do this. You'd be able to have the softwares. You'd be able to do this. You'd be able to do this. You'd be able to do this. And by doing this, now the business equals your freedom. So you're always attaching the business to the freedom, right? So whatever you get to know about them, attach that freedom to the business. It's simple, right? Attach the business. That's the answer to every concern. Oh man, I just don't feel like I have the time. That's exactly why you need this business, right? Oh man, my kids, they got sports, they got this and that, and well, hey, would it be worth it to you? That phrase right there, would it be worth it to you? Everybody say it with me. Would it be worth it to you? Right? Would it be worth it to you to grab a license? It only takes about 2 weeks. Dip your toe in the water. Start part-time. Like, would it be worth it to you if you could actually make an extra $500 to $1,000 just by referring to start with or getting going? Like, would it be worth it to you? And if they say no, but very few people are like, yeah, it actually would be worth it. That phrase, they're always evaluating the cost, the value, right? Would it be worth it to you, right? So these are just some phrases, some practical things that you can go implement right away, right? Obviously, when you run more volume, you'll get better at the transitions, but you could use those phrases in any piece. But when it comes to recruiting, like I said, you got to change your association. You got to change your either positive or negative view on it, because recruiting is the answer to all your problems. Literally. It really is. And the sooner you buy into that, and the sooner that you just get laser focused on it, right? And even me saying that right now, some of you are like, right? Oh, recruiting. Like every time you hear the word, that's some inner work you got to do. There's something that's like holding you back, and you need to figure that out. Because if you can't get convicted in that, then it's gonna take you a long time to get to where you're trying to go. And last thing that I want to close out on is me and Sarah, we went to our first Vegas convention in 2022. And we were, maybe 20 grand, 30 grand in cash flow, 40 grand, maybe that. And we just hit our Indy promotion in April. And we went to Vegas convention, and we were sitting in the nosebleeds, right? You hear the nosebleed stories. That's where all of you probably will be sitting this convention, and probably last convention, if you were. But if you're newer to the team, every year in Vegas in July we go, and me and Sarah were sitting out there, and it was like, oh my gosh, like millions of dollars, all these things, and doesn't it just seem like way out of reach? Can we be honest? When you first get started, all your CFTs, and like it's like, will I ever be able to like do that? And me and Sarah looked at each other and we're like, we're walking this stage next year to be an S&D, bare minimum, right? And that was scary to say out loud, right? And then the next year we walked across stage at S&D. It came to pass. It actually happened. We hit S&D. We hit our ring that year. It was awesome, right? And then the next goal was like, okay, we gotta be sitting on the floor. We gotta qualify for some awards. Like let's go. What are we doing? And sure enough, the following year we were top 25, top 100 in the company. Sitting on the front row with Nick and Nathan and Silas, Jess, Leo, right? Like all the people that you've heard from this weekend, all top people in the company. And it's just, I never thought that it would happen. Like I believed it could, but I felt like I was so far away. And I just want to speak to those of you in the room that feel like you're so far away. You're so much closer than you think you are. Right? We started in 2022. What is it, 2026 now? That's only, 4.5 years, maybe 5 years? To some of us, that may seem like a long time, but it's a pretty short window. But you're so much closer than you think you are. And I just want to encourage you, whatever goal you're setting out for, whatever you're dreaming to do, like it's going to come to pass if you believe and if you work for it and you do your thing. But don't let those numbers scare you. Nick talks about 1,000,000-point base shot. That number's scary. It's like, I can't even get 1,000 points, let alone 1,000,000, right? And so I just want to encourage you, you're way closer than you think you are. Don't delay your success because of your inability to change your associations with words. Don't delay your success because you feel like you really, really suck and you're not going to take action until you get better. The only way you get better is by running a lot of volume and running 10 appointments in a day, doing the things. Because how can you lead somebody else to do the things if you don't do the things? All of us want to jump to the leader. But in order to be a leader, you got to be a good follower. And you also got to go through the journey. So enjoy the journey. Trust the process. We have some of the best leaders on the planet in this room and across our team. And you guys are the next ones. And you got to say, I'm next. Somebody say, I'm next.
I'm next.
Right? This is the next wave of CFTs and future SMDs in the room. So stay in the picture. Right? If we take a group picture, stay in the picture. There's a lot of people that we started with 4 or 5 years ago, and she's about to come snatch me off the stage. There's 4 or 5 years ago that they started, and they're no longer here. Right? It's unfortunate. Insert as to why they're not. But stay in the picture. Stay in the picture. Believe, work hard, and you're closer than you think you are. Somebody say that. I'm closer.
Closer than I think I am.
I'm closer than I think I am. And you're next, guys. Let's go. See you at the top.